Right, so welcome back to the channel. Apologies first of all about last week. I didn't release a video. I had a bit of a family thing which meant a lot of driving for the weekend, so I filmed these on the weekends. Can't film them in the week because I'm working. What I want to do in today's video is I want to talk about my thoughts on some of the comments I've got from the videos we've released on Universal Credit. I'll put the links to 3 videos we've done on Universal Credit in the top left corner, wherever it is. One of them was on how Universal Credit works, so going through the numbers, giving you the facts of it, the process, that kind of stuff. The second one we did was on the truth about Universal Credit. So this was more or less a bit of an opinion video, but giving my kind of look into the analysis and background of it to work out really what's going on. And then we did a third video on can you afford to live on Universal Credit? And the purpose of that video really was to try and understand, is there enough money from Universal Credit? A lot of the comments that we got from the first couple of videos, it doesn't pay enough, you don't get enough money. And we kind of established in that video, well, I won't tell you what we established in that video, watch the video. But in this video, what I want to really go through is kind of giving my thoughts on the comments that we got from some of the Universal Credit videos, and it's going to be a little bit more free form, less sort of structured. And the reason I want to do a video like this is because there's a few comments that we've had which have kind of struck me. The comments that have struck me are very much, I would say, painful kind of realities from a number of viewers. I mean, this isn't one or two, this is quite, I'm having quite a lot of comments coming through from people with long backgrounds. These are detailed stories. These are kind of, this is the situation I'm in, this is the challenges that I'm facing, and you can see them, they're in the comments. You can have a look through those Universal Credit videos, you can see the comments, some of them quite recent, some of them going back for a while, but they're very heartfelt, I would say. They're very raw. It kind of hit me pretty hard, but what I wanted to do in this video is kind of 2 things. I want to kind of go through an idea that I had, but I also want to go through some of the comments that we had come back and what I've done in the background. And I'll go through that bit first of all. So some of the comments we had, and there was a guy this morning and the comment's been blocked, I don't really agree with it, which was a response to a comment on there about someone having difficulty with being able to live on Universal Credit. And don't get me wrong, I'm fairly neutral on this stuff. I'm not going to side with people who are out of work and then say, you're out of work, you know, don't do any work, it's good, you know, that's the best way. But I'm also understanding that some people are in a position where they're unable to work. There's legitimate reasons for this. And some of the comments that I'm referring to, the ones that I'm indicating here, are the kind of comments where you can tell these people aren't messing around. These are kind of serious challenges that these people are facing in their lives. Legitimate people that are trying to do the right thing, but for one reason or another, this could be a disability, this could be circumstances, COVID, all sorts of stuff. They want to go and do something about it, but for one reason or another, they're limited, they're unable to. Some of the people in the comments have indicated that they have had suicidal and you know, mental health issues due to it, and down to kind of Universal Credit, the lack of support, the lack of understanding of it. And yet some of the comments I've had back, and this particular comment basically said, go and get a job, you lazy, you get the kind of word. And I don't mind constructive comments. I don't mind people putting in most stuff in there. I understand that not everybody's going to agree on everything. I've got no problem with that. But what I don't want in the comments is something which is going to be just, you know, insensitive, offensive or whatever. I don't really see that, how that's going to help anybody. But I don't think that when people are pouring their heart out and you can tell these people are facing difficulties, that you go in there and all of a sudden be disrespectful. I don't like that. The other thing I was going to go through in this video is about an idea that I had, and that idea was to do a video on if you had Universal Credit and a system or a version of it that worked, how much would it need to pay out to help people? And I looked in and I started doing homework on it. You know, the team that works with us, we had a look at trying to do a video to try and get more of an understanding on the numbers, the practicality side of it, what you could and what you couldn't do and stuff like that. Doing the homework on it, there's a few core problems. And although I would love a universal credit system that would help people in their hour of need, there are a few reasons why that system wouldn't work in the way that I think it would pay enough to help people. But there's also a root reason why, even if it could work and you could find a way of it working, it's unrealistic. Some of the comments we got, and I mean, say there's some of the comments, probably about 60 comments across these, indicated quite clearly in simple terms, in many cases, universal credit is unfit for purpose. And really, what is the purpose of universal credit? You know, if you're looking for a universal credit system that's going to work for people, what is the purpose of it? And I'd like to think that universal credit is a system that, in people's moment of need, when they need financial support, they're out of work for whatever reason, they don't have enough income to support themselves, their family, etc., you would want universal credit to be a system that would come to help people when they needed that financial support. The problem comes in that that's not really the purpose of universal credit. And universal credit, I think, portrays itself or is portrayed in the media as some sort of system to help people out. Universal credit, the kind of idea of it is a unified system that will offer financial support at a minimum level, and at a minimum level temporarily. It is meant to be a system that is meant when people need some income for their basic necessities. Universal credit will be able to pay you enough to put food on the table, basic food, be able to probably pay basic bills, and that will be enough. The root purpose of universal credit is a temporary solution to your very most basic financial needs. That's it. And you'd think, well, why don't they up more money so it doesn't help me for just my basic financial needs? What if I've got a mortgage? What if I've got a rent? What if I've got other commitments? Because universal credit, as we established in one of the videos, is enough to get you by if you live and your commitments are very low in the first place. But unless you live in a very low financial situation, you've got a council flat, for example, stuff like that, and you're living on nothing anyway, not used to anything, then it's still tight then. If you've got a mortgage, you've got rental payments, all sorts of this kind of stuff, you've got other financial commitments, and you've got assets, and you can't afford to pay for them, you're going to lose everything. So it doesn't really work that well. But as I say, universal credit's purpose isn't to pay your mortgage, it's not to pay your rent, it's not to see you sustain your standard of living. That's not the purpose of it. And there is no way the government will change it. And here's the thing that it is not advertised, that people sadly don't realise, and this is why universal credit and whatever system or whatever format they bring in, whatever they call it, it is not meant to be any more than that. The system that we live in this country is a capitalist system. That will not change. It is not a communist system or anything like that. It's a capitalist system. That's what we live in. And a capitalist system runs on tax. Now, you'll notice one thing about the way that this country runs. You might notice, well, how comes rich people seem to be looked after more than poor people? And the simple reason for it is they've got more money to be able to pay in tax. And you might argue, well, hang on a minute, how comes companies like Amazon and Google and other companies, big corporations, haven't gone out and paid tax? How comes the government go and let them get away with it and not other people? And there's a simple reason for it. The tax that they pay directly is a lot less than the amount of tax that company generates in form of VAT, employee income tax from all of the people that work for them, other forms of taxable revenue from their business. If you take Amazon, for example, you think about the amount of parcels that are ordered and delivered every single day just across the UK. Every one of those parcels, those orders, is on a tax bracket that is 20% on VAT. Amazon now has 1 million employees. It's got tons of employees in the UK, and it's still open up more depots, for example. Well, all those employees are on a system that they have to pay tax on. All of the stuff that goes on in there, the electricity they've got to pay tax on, all the vehicles that deliver everything, they've got to pay tax on the road tax for it. There's tons and tons of money that a company like that would generate. And the reality of it is that for such big employers, corporate level employers, the amount of tax that they generate from allowing them to operate freely in this country and be able to use the money that they would pay directly in tax, if you're not charging that or you're giving them a more lenient tax package, they're making a ton more money for the government, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 10-fold more if you allow them to operate and get on with what they need, because you'll make more money, like 10 times as much, from the amount of VAT that they inadvertently generate from their customers, because they're such in demand. That's how big companies tend to get away with tax. That's how rich people tend to get away with tax. The reality of it is, the more money that you have, the more money, either directly or indirectly, you'll be able to contribute to the system. And that system is a capitalist system. Anyone in this country who's got a lot of money, who inadvertently, even if it's not through them, but by their businesses, generate tons and tons and tons and tons of tax for the UK government, they'll be looked after by the UK government. The government will not tell you that. They will not be honest about that. They will never tell you anything like that. But it's there plain to see. It's a capitalist system. That's how it works. It relies on tax. So if you are in a position where you generate a lot of tax, you tend to get a lot of things go your way, a lot more leniency. On the other hand, if you're out of work, you're claiming universal credit and taking money back out of that system, why on earth would they reward you? And this system, universal credit or whatever, tax credit system, wherever it is reformed in the future, is never going to change from that. They're not going to reward you unless you generate and put tax into the system. And that's what they will not tell you. That's the reality of the system. It is not designed to be personable to you. It is a robotic system that works via capitalist ideology, if you like, that revolves all around tax. That's it. If you can't afford, or you don't have the money to pay them a lot of tax, don't expect them to look after you. We in this country will give the minimum benefit possible to people that you might look at and think, well, that's not enough. But in other countries, they wouldn't help you at all. This country will still help you, but bear in mind it will be to a minimum level. And the reality of it is, I'm sorry to say, that's not going to change. The country wants you, the capitalist system wants you in a taxable system. That's it. And that's why universal credit pays so badly. It won't reward you, and it causes so much hardship, difficulty and challenge to people. So that pretty much sums up my thoughts on this one. But if you want to see a video like that, or you have any other ideas for videos, do put them in the comments below. If you like this video, do consider subscribing to our channel, give us a like, big thumbs up, and put any comments that you have in the boxes below. And don't forget, if you do subscribe to our channel, to click the bell icon and select all, so you're not going to miss any one of our forthcoming videos.